13 facts you didn't know about blue whales.
The blue whale is also yellow. Underwater, the blue whale does appear blue in color, but that's not the reality on land. Blue whales are really a mottled blue-gray color, while their underbellies are yellow. These colorings are a little more complicated than it first appears. So the blue-gray markings are all completely unique on each whale, similar to the unique identification that fingerprints give us. And while blue is the color most people define the blue whale by, they can also look silvery gray or even tan, depending on the light and water. The yellow part is not a trait from birth, but rather the result of the millions of microorganisms living on the whale, causing the lighter underbelly skin to appear yellowish. They are big, blue whale big.
The blue whale is the largest creature to ever inhabit the Earth. We're talking from dinosaur to megalodon to now.
They grow as long as a Boeing 737 airplane. They reach up to 150 tons in weight, and females are larger than males. Thankfully, they live in water, where they wouldn't be able to support their own massive body weight against the effect of gravity, and rather would collapse under their giant weight. Other mammals that evolved to land had to adapt to a smaller body size to survive, but the whale remained ocean-bound, and so could retain their gigantic size. Whale anatomy. Let's get inside the whale's mouth. If you were to hold a meeting in a blue whale's mouth, you could accommodate 100 people. It can expand and contract the space by stretching out the 80 to 100 long grooves running along the length of its throat and chest as it swallows water. Its mouth is a giant cavity used to gulp up great quantities of water, rich in the whale's prey, krill. The whale filters the nutritious microorganisms through stiff bristles covering the roof of its mouth, which are an adaptation called baleen. These catch the krill in them and the water is expelled. You can't imagine that the largest animal in the ocean's sole diet is made up of one of the smallest inhabitants of the ocean, but during the summer months, blue whales manage to eat up to 6,000 kilograms of krill in a day. When it comes to hearing, the blue whale doesn't have external ears for hearing in the traditional sense, but it does have excellent hearing. They use air sinuses and bones to detect sounds by interpreting sound vibrations. They also create many sounds to communicate with whales hundreds of kilometers away, but more about that later on. Expensive excrement. A whale can eat up to 40 million krill in a day, and these tiny, tasty shrimp can cause indigestion, and once in a while it results in whale-sized vomit. The excrement is called ambergris, and it starts out soft, then naturally, like any seafood left out, it goes rancid. It floats around the ocean, being exposed to the elements and salt water until it becomes hard and waxy. After a while, it apparently starts to smell great.
So great, in fact, it is used as a base to manufacture expensive perfumes. It is extremely rare, so only used in the best perfumes. And if you're not completely grossed out, perhaps you'll start looking out for it, because a block of ambergris weighing 7 pounds can sell for $50,000.
Whale song. Whales aren't just silently gliding through the ocean and puffing a little breath through their blowholes from time to time. They are a uniquely loud creature. They send low-frequency whistles and rumbles that can reach 188 decibels, which is louder than an airplane. These noises travel up to 1,600 kilometers away to other whale pods who respond. The noises they make are at such low frequency that they are below the human hearing range. They speak a language of whales, groans, pulses, and whistles that can be interpreted as a communicable language. The sounds are also used as sonar navigation to help them navigate in the deep, dark depths. Big baby. Blue whale mamas deserve some kudos. They give birth to calves weighing 7,000 pounds and who are already 23 feet long. This is one of the largest mature animals at birth. But these babies don't stop there. Every day they gain 200 pounds, drinking a whopping 500 liters of milk a day. They also take the title of the fastest maturity rate in the animal world.
The female is pregnant for a year and has a baby every 2 or 3 years. Imagine giving birth to a happy, healthy bundle the size of a car. Sure, it's all relative, but still, let's give credit where credit is due.
When blue whales are ready to procreate, they head for warmer equatorial regions, which are a nicer environment for calves than the frigid shock of the Antarctic waters. That would be a complete shock after a year in a nice, warm blubber in its mom's belly. Being placental mammals, blue whales are very similar in fetal development to humans growing in the uterus. When born, its mother must take it straight to the surface for air, and then it begins suckling. Seasonal eaters. Blue whales are the epitome of make hay while the sun shines when it comes to their eating patterns. When in the cold Antarctic, they gorge on the krill-rich waters and slow their pace to 5 miles an hour to conserve energy and maximize mealtimes. To put that into perspective, a blue whale's average travel speed is 12 to 20 miles an hour, but they can reach speeds of 31 miles an hour when interacting with other whales. During these sedentary feeding speeds, they conserve energy and are able to store up fatty reserves for the leaner months. When they leave the Antarctic for warmer oceans during the breeding season, and krill pickings become slim, they can go up to 6 months without feeding, essentially living on love and whale blubber alone. Solo travelers.
Blue whales are timid by nature and don't travel in pods in the same way other marine mammals do. They travel solo most of their lives, and the largest group they form is perhaps a pair of 2 adults or a mother and child. Even in these sets, they probably travel kilometers apart. Only during krill feeding will you come across large groups of blue whales.
We are distant family. 35 million years ago, there lived an animal called Anthracotherium, which paleontologists think is the common cousin that links whales and hippos. To solve the mystery, like the best CSI detectives, the teeth tell all. Comparing dental records, it is clear to scientists that they both stemmed from this family tree. It seems that these forefathers migrated from Asia to Africa around 35 million years ago. At the time, Africa was an island, so they most likely swam there. Only in Africa did the Anthracotherium begin its evolution to African hippo, and that is why the hippo is completely native to the African continent. The Anthracotherium that remained in the ocean evolved a branch that eventually became the whale we know today. On the brink of disaster. Whale oil became a commodity in the 1900s that ended in 360,000 blue whales being slaughtered in just 60 years. But blue whales were incredibly difficult to hunt. The game changer for blue whale numbers was an invention by a Norwegian named Stephen Foyn. Previously, catching blue whales was impossible because of their size and speed, but Foyn designed explosive harpoons, and that invention opened the playing field for indiscriminate hunting of these gentle giants. Thankfully, in 1966, an International Whaling Commission was established to help protect the whales, but sadly, the recovery hasn't been substantial.
These days, there are only 0.15% of the original blue whale population that used to inhabit the Antarctic alive. This is equivalent to around 360 blue whales.
The blue whale has very few predators, but they are vulnerable to impacts from large ships. They also fall victim to shark and killer whale attacks, but human hunting is still their largest threat. No sleep for the whales. Blue whales breathe through air holes on their backs, and they surface to take in air periodically. What this means for a tired whale is that they can never fully switch off, roll over, and hit the hay. But they can kind of doze off. Kind of. They have evolved an involuntary respiratory system that shuts off half their brain to sleep. The other half remains active enough to ensure the blowhole is controlled and breath is initiated. Long shall they live. Blue whales have a remarkably long lifespan of 80 to 90 years. They are among the longest living of all mammals.
The oldest known blue whale lived for 110 years. How scientists determine their age is similar to how trees are aged. Well, sort of. You know the way that trees are aged by counting the rings in the trees? Well, whales are aged by counting the layers of wax in their ears to give a ballpark figure of their age. Is there a fact we left out that you can tell us? Let me know in the comments below.
1. Catch a glimpse. So we've told you all we know about these majestic creatures, and now it's time to go whale watching. Where is the best place to spot a blue whale? We have a few suggestions for you. A good place to start is the St. Lawrence River in Canada's Quebec province, and the best time is between August and early October. Iceland is another place. The Azores, Port Elizabeth, and the Western Cape, South Africa, Sri Lanka, and South Island, New Zealand. Experts do believe that their numbers are slowly increasing, but spotting them is still a beautiful sight and one that is not easily forgotten. So, happy whale watching!